and welcome to another Biddle on Saturday, September 12th. It seems like we just did this a few hours ago because we did. How's everybody doing?
Good.
Fantastic.
For business.
Good evening.
That was a very slight reminder from Tony to put the sign on. So thank you, Tony.
Yep.
Appreciate it.
You know, Rocco, you still need to get that Raspberry Pi. You can get the 8 gig RAM Raspberry Pi.
Barb,
Does he need 8 gigs of RAM to turn on a side?
Here's the problem.
No,
Barb.
but it just is, why not get as much as you can?
Yeah, he could run a media server and his sign.
Yeah, exactly. There you go.
Barb, here's the problem.
Yeah.
I could get a Raspberry Pi, but I wouldn't know the first thing how to make that operate through the Raspberry Pi. Simple as that. No idea. And I don't have the time to learn, so unless I get a box shipped with a Raspberry Pi that automatically connects to that sign, it probably is not going to happen. Just saying.
Unless it magnetically flies through the air and attaches itself to the sign and sets itself up, he won't do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you could even just remember the old-fashioned light timers that you could use to turn your lights on and off when you weren't home.
Mm-hmm.
You could plug one into that, and use that.
I could, but just like tonight, we were late, so it would be on before we started.
But
It'd be a clapper,
bit of a clapper.
There you go.
Clapper.
That's perfect. I love it. Clapper.
Clapper. They're coming out for this Christmas.
Mm-hmm.
If you set it up with a Raspberry Pi, it'd probably go wrong, Rocco, and you'd end up having to manually switch it anyway. So,
Man, Tony, when I want some positive vibes, I just come to you, brother.
anytime, you're welcome.
Well, if we could get a confirmation from chat that the audio is good, we're going to move forward. We had our Biddle Europe earlier, and it was fantastic. We had such a great conversation. I mean, we did go from Amazon to like why we should back tanks. Yes, tanks to why we should go.
Tanks are cool.
Back
Tanks
a
and Terminator.
distro. So it was a
AI apocalypse, Battlestar Galactica.
Yep.
Everybody taking all the machines taking over.
Drones, AI. Yep. It's all over the place, but it was great. So
it's given me an idea. I'm working on a development of a stealth drone, Rocco, so it reduces the noises for Amazon.
All right. So what's everybody been up to? What do you got going on?
Not a whole lot here. Just hanging out with the cats in the background here. Wouldn't be Biddle without the cats.
I love the cats, dude.
And then for me, it's the only thing that's going on that's new is, like I mentioned on the earlier shows, I'm back with good old-fashioned Apple, doing their Apple Care customer service again.
The only Linux podcast or show that you'll have a Mac guy on.
No,
I'm sure to call you for support, Jason.
I'm using my Mac right now.
Yeah. Well, no, I don't mean computer. I mean the tech guy, the guy.
The tech guy, yeah, probably.
Oh, well.
That's what makes us so great. That's what makes this whole stream so wonderful.
Yep, agreed. So what you been
an
up to, Barb?
eclectic group. Yeah.
Barb, what you been up to?
Let's see. This sounds kind of crazy. It was an idea that I had. I use fountain pens, so I have a lot of fountain pen ink, and it kind of has gone over the amount of storage I had for it. So I was downstairs in the basement yesterday doing, switching laundry or something, and I saw these 2 3-drawer cases, plastic ones that had been down there for probably 10 or 15 years down in the basement. You used to put 3.5-inch floppies in them. So I thought they'd be perfect for my ink. It's more trouble than it's worth. I'm going back to the way I did it before.
Hey, you tried.
I tried. I really did. And it's like, now tomorrow I'm going to Michael's and getting another one of those big storage containers. Well, not that big. It's for like scrapbooks or something. And I'll have 2 of those instead of, it was a great idea. And I thought just slide it out. Now the drawers get stuck.
Yeah.
That was like, forget it. I'm not going to fight with it.
That's a lot of ink.
Well, you know what my dad always said. More than one way to skin a cat, or got to be something else. So,
yeah,
no offense to your cats,
something.
Jason.
Gigi's looking at you right now.
Yeah, no offense to your cats, but more
I don't
than
know.
one
Mine
way.
left. They heard that and they're gone. Yeah, mine are gone. The dog's here. No, at least I tried to repurpose something, and it's going in recycling tomorrow after I get the thing I need.
Well, Barb, I do want to thank you for switching computers. That was awesome.
You're welcome. No problem. Now that I know that, I mean, I don't care. I don't get offended by that kind of stuff. It happens.
All right, Steve. Colin, go ahead.
No, I was just going to ask Barb, did she get her, what laptop did you have? The
Pinebook Pro.
Pinebook. Did you get that going?
No, because I'm waiting for the replacement motherboard.
Oh, you're still waiting. Oh, okay.
Yeah, so I guess they must have run out, so they have to wait for the next batch.
Oh, okay.
And then it's going to come from China to California, and then from California to where I live in the outer boondocks of upstate New York.
It might take a while to get to California with everything that's going on over there.
This is true. So, yeah, that's the thing. I mean, anywhere on the West Coast. I feel so sorry for all those people. Where can they go? The Pacific Ocean?
Yeah,
because they can't go east.
That's tough.
It's
I don't want to be disrespectful or anything. I didn't think California could have anything else to burn. They seem to have huge fires every year. I didn't think
they
there'd be
burned. I don't know
else.
how many millions of acres. Somebody know how?
I don't know how many exactly.
Incredible.
So the current stat, as of last night, is every 30 minutes, space about the size of the District of Columbia burns down.
Wow,
so
that is crazy.
Yeah, it's like 110,000 football fields or something like
and
that.
what I heard yesterday was that the amount of burned, like forest, is larger than the state of Connecticut.
Yep.
Okay, yeah, that's what I heard on the news yesterday.
That's
so we're talking
of displaced people. Oh, man.
Yeah, and Portland. Look at Portland. They have about 500,000 people in the city, and the fires were up to the suburbs.
Oh.
Yeah, and a friend of mine, her brother lives in Portland. He said right now the air is so bad, and I'm thinking, I could never live in an area. I couldn't live with an area like that with my asthma.
It's like looking through curtains almost,
Yeah.
like through sheets. It's just black and gray and
Well, here's the crazy thing. Maybe I'm a little bit neurotic. Well, I probably am. But when I was walking the dog this afternoon, I do have a very fine sense of smell. So, and I was walking, and every so often, I swear, I was picking up a whiff of burning wood. And nobody in my immediate area had any kind of fire going.
We've had that problem here where, because we've got fires here in Arizona right now.
Yeah.
It's nothing like what California is going through, but there's the whole sky is caked in smoke here. And just we'll keep smelling like fire. And there's nothing on fire. It just smells like it because
it's just
the whole
smoke
air is
coming through.
Yeah. It's terrible and a little scary because you might think, oh yeah, it's just the smoke, and something actually is on fire.
Well, I do know that I ended up last week, I had asthmatic bronchitis, which is no fun. And the only thing because it started earlier than normal, and I was already, wheezing and whatever. And I think we already had particulate, 2.5 micron particulates dropping down, because I looked at my car the other day. It had a coat of fine gray dust on it. I'm like up here in Nowheresville.
Hey,
you can see it in the satellite imagery as well.
I know.
It's
It's insane.
You drive by my road though, and you got dust on it. I mean, I got a layer of dust. I could wash my truck Monday morning. There's going to be a layer of dust on that truck, just the way it is.
Yeah, but I don't have a dirt road.
This isn't a dirt road either, but somehow it must be a dusty road because it just gets dirty like you wouldn't believe.
But yeah, but now that I keep smelling every so often when I'm outside, I smell wood smoke, and I'm thinking, okay, I do have a fine sense of smell, but this is ridiculous.
Yeah,
it's everywhere.
All right, Steve, bring us up, please, will you? Bring us up. We need some happier conversation here.
Oh boy, I don't know if I can do that.
What have you been up to, dude?
Most of my week has been last Sunday towards the evening. I spent about 4 hours reinstalling Windows 10 on my son's Asus laptop. I never realized that when we did an upgrade on it a couple years back, that when I used a media creation tool, it downloaded the 32-bit for a 64-bit system. And I could never fully understand why it wasn't using full RAM. And we've been trying to, he's in, community college. So one of his animation classes he has to install Maya 3D on, and use it. Well, the 2020 version wasn't installing. I couldn't get it installed on my my Linux desktop. So I figured out. Oh, I was looking at the about on Windows, and to see that I have 32-bit OS on a 64-bit system. So I'm like, okay, this is one of our problems. So the installation itself wasn't too bad, although if you're not paying attention in Windows in the first install, when it reboots, it's not like Linux, like we're used to. Please pull your media and hit enter. No, it just reboots, and if you leave your USB in, it reboots back into the install. So that was fun. And I just walked away to go to the bathroom, came back, and I'm like, why am I back at the reinstall screen? But at one point a few years now, his laptop is about 10 years old. He's got an Asus Republica Gamer G73JH. At the time, it has a AMD 5780, video card in it. And it was, I guess, we spent $1,200 for it about 10 years ago. But once I got Windows 10 64-bit installed, the drivers used to go to Asus and download their utility package, and it would get all your drivers. Well, I guess maybe the laptop's too old now, and now you got to search for the drivers. So I've been updating. He had problems with his audio, so I don't want to hear how bad Pulse audio is. Windows is just as bad. I couldn't pick up his mic. So it's been a week of fixing his laptop, but we got Maya. We had to go with the 2018 version because with school, the students, if you're a student, you get Maya free for a year. Otherwise, it's a $16,000 a year program or $1,600 a year program. Unbelievable. But I had Jill. I messaged Jill, and Jill was great help. We gave some suggestions in that. Finally got it installed. He can now do his classes, and although he might not have all the bells and whistles with 2018 on it, instead of 2020, at least it's running. So that was my I don't know if I brought anybody up, but it was interesting this week.
The joys of technology.
Yeah. Sometimes I wish I was ignorant.
That's a bug with the installer. It's supposed, when it installs Windows and creates the ESP, the boot partition, it's supposed to notify the firmware of the changes, and then when you reboot, it's supposed to automatically pick that up as the newest option. So I wonder if they're aware of that. I'll scrub and see if I can find like an existing bug report or something. But yeah,
because I don't remember it.
It's not a bug; it's a feature.
Yep.
But now his system's using the full. I got 10 gigs of RAM, and I had updated his RAM. I didn't feel like taking the keyboard apart to get to the underneath to get that part of the RAM. So he's got 10 gigs now. Well, because I couldn't figure out, it's only using like up to 4, and I was like, oh, made sense. 32-bit doesn't read over 4. So.
Yep. All right.
Thanks for asking.
Monica, what have you been up to? You haven't been here in so long.
I haven't. It's been a month of kind of doing teacher planning, and I haven't been really doing like much outside my apartment, but I've just been like exhausted. So Friday night comes around, or Saturday night, or whatever day in the week we happen to be in, and I mean to log in, and then I'm just I don't know, but it is really good to be back. I wish Bill was here too, because we've been actually up to stuff. So that hasn't been Ubuntu Mate stuff, though we've been up to that too. Been doing a lot of virtual events. I did a virtual bridal shower today for a friend, and it was a Princess Bride themed one, which was pretty awesome. So, but also been planning some other kind of virtual community kind of get-togethers. So that has been really fun. So one of them, hopefully maybe next week I can chat more once we actually have the site kind of up and going. But it is Linux related, and I think you will like it because it also involves tea. So
Yes.
I know, which really means that
tea.
before the start, I know on my Facebook, I went and posted my tea stash, and then my friends took that as a challenge. And I found one friend who had about 80 boxes of tea in her house.
Yep.
And she has 3 kettles. And I'm like, okay, I feel thoroughly inadequate now. So.
Well, I was like so down because when I had that kidney stone, all I read on the internet was, I mean, like tea was at the top of the list to not have when you have kidney stone. And then I finally got, I went and did some tests after it was removed and found out that it actually had nothing to do with anything I was eating. So tea's back on the menu.
Tea's back on the menu, boys.
So much better than coffee. It really is.
I like both, though. I mean, I do love coffee, but I like...
Coffee's the best.
We can like both. So
all we got to say is look at the last name. All about the coffee.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, love coffee, drinking it most of the day, but at night, definitely tea. Definitely tea.
So there are definitely some teas in the morning, especially the British ones that they'll get you going.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, there was Yorkshire Gold, which I think is my favorite breakfast tea. I think the first trip in England where I got into it, I was drinking like 5-6 cups a day and wondering why I couldn't sleep. And I'm just like, oh my, it's like there's so much caffeine in this. And I tried the decaf version and it wasn't good. If I'm going to do a decaf tea, I'd rather do like a rooibos or just a nice herbal one. So, and those count. Yes, they're not technically teas. I don't care. They're hot and they're tasty and wonderful. So
Trader Joe's has one. It's called Well Rested, or what my sister-in-law calls knockout tea.
Knockout tea? Nice.
Yeah, it is well rested. It's good for right before you go to bed.
I think you might have to send me that, so a link or something. So because I might need that.
The only thing is, do you have it? Yeah, because Trader Joe's is one of the few places that won't ship. So, but I think we might have to have a tea, exchange. So somebody who has access can get access to those of us who don't.
But
so
Celestial sleepy time that's what I've been drinking lately, is at night before I go to bed. And
their sleepy time extra with the valerian. If I have 2 cups of those, I'm not waking up for a while. That's pretty awesome. Yeah, I find the Tazo, there's a Tazo like Calm or something, and it has lemongrass. And that is really nice too. It's not it's not the knockout tea, but it's just like feeling nice and calm and sleepy tea.
I think it's like a chamomile tea or something like that.
Chamomile?
Yeah. Sleepy Time has chamomile. But but I can't drink straight chamomile. It's just like taking like grass clippings.
Yeah, I know. I agree.
Jinda?
I'm not a big one on herbal teas anyway. I would just rather have real tea.
Hello, Wendy.
Hello,
Wendy. It has been so long.
Hi, Wendy.
I know. You haven't been here in forever.
I don't know when the last time I made it, but yeah, it's been a long time.
Now you're a super famous podcaster.
Oh, well, I wouldn't go that far, but
yeah, I would.
So famous, she's too busy for Big Daddy Linux.
Yep.
No, the problem is the timing. I'm in mountain time, and so it's just at the right time where I'm usually making dinner or we're sitting down to dinner as a family, and so it's a little harder to make this time slot. But I get to make it on a rare occasion.
Right. Well, you used to make it all the time when it was a different time slot, when it was, I think, 10
It was a
o'clock.
lot later.
Yeah. Yeah, you used
Your
to make
time,
it.
yeah.
Yeah, what are you going to do?
Well,
Hey,
it's
there's
great to
no
have you on
perfect.
now.
Yeah, it is. There's no perfect time. It's going to
Right.
mess somebody up. So,
Exactly. But this time works best for you, so that works. That works.
Mountain time. That's interesting. I haven't heard of mountain time before.
Mhm.
That's where I am.
this coming from the guy from down under.
Where it's already tomorrow.
Right?
Kangaroo time.
What time
Yes.
is it there, Colin?
It's almost 8:30 in the morning, Rocco.
That's ridiculous,
Oh,
dude.
lucky.
That's absolutely ridiculous.
I know it is ridiculous. It's work tomorrow. That's even more ridiculous.
I call Vince the time traveler. Yep. You're the same pretty much. Yep.
Well, hopefully the future is better. So
All right, Chindo. Go ahead, brother.
For fun, I decided to try to get Doom 3 to run on my Raspberry Pi. Why?
Really?
Because, yeah, I'm a nerd. You know, something stupid to do, right? Okay, so
Nothing
I
wrong
tried to
with
get
that.
it. I tried to get it to run, and I got it to work. Now, this is the point that I wanted to make. The game came out in 2004, and its requirements were an Athlon 1500 AMD.
Mm-hmm.
The benchmarking scores are 191. The benchmarking scores of the machine that I have now is like 30,000. Now, I don't remember computers being so horribly slow in 2004. And I just wanted to say that does that seem right to you guys? I mean, did you remember them being horribly slow in 2004?
I remember them being horribly slow. I mean, like,
Yeah.
Okay.
I can't.
I don't
okay.
remember having a computer good enough to actually have to be able to do a benchmark.
Yeah.
Oh,
No,
okay.
no, I think at the time though, it seems a lot of it seems slow, but some of it may not because you don't know any better. You know, like that's the technology of the time, so you run with it. So once these new technologies come out, it's like you went from regular spinning drives to SSDs to NVMe's. Like you wouldn't want to go back to a spinning drive if you didn't have to. Although there's probably many of us that have spinning drives in our computers. I'm just saying.
That's terrifying.
It is. It's terrifying.
I haven't used a hard drive in like 5-6 years.
I mean, I have them as backup drives. I have, like storage drives, but
Too.
yeah.
Yeah, I
when
use
you
them
have
on a
massive
caddy.
amounts of data, you have to have some way to store it.
Yep.
I have an 8 terabyte in my system now, and it's almost full. It needs to be upgraded.
But see, here's the problem with that, Wendy. You have an 8
Yeah.
terabyte drive and you have storage on there or either a backup, but there's no backup to the 8 terabyte. There's no
Problem is,
redundancy.
I'd love to have an online backup, but because I have so many files, so much data, the cost of having an offsite backup has been crazy, and I haven't found a good solution that way. So if anybody has a good solution for massive amounts of data, I'd
NAS.
love to hear it.
Just get like a
Tape.
50-foot USB cable and build a
Offsite.
little shed outside.
Exactly. Like a shed. You've got a shed as a DAS. But Shikol, what I thought you were going to say was she should just navigate over to a cloud-based system where all the storage is in the cloud, right?
Yeah, but
Well,
she has too much storage for that. Too much stuff
Yeah,
to
that's
put up to
correct.
the cloud. Is her issue. She
Well,
has
that's what I'd
terabytes.
like, because if something ever happened at home, and the horrible thing, if there was a fire, right? We've got renter's insurance, but if there was a fire, I would love to have an offsite backup so that
Well-
that data is still.
Wendy,
Well,
I
another option to
have.
do is to get a like an external hard drive, something that's 8 terabyte or bigger hard drive or whatever. That back it up to that, take it out, throw it in one of these bad boys, which is a
Mhm.
hard case, and then throw this into a fireproof safe.
Yes.
What
I thought you were gonna say
Alex
throw
This
it
one
in
of
the
those little
fire.
small, one of those little small fireproof safes that you can get like at Walmart or
Yep.
Office Max or whatever, and it'll enough space to put your valuables in. You can put if you have
Well,
know,
we've got one
watches,
that are
stuff like-
marriage license and all of that.
yeah,
good
like
stuff.
passports and all that kind of
Yeah.
stuff, or whatever else you want to need to put in there that's important. You don't want to lose in the fire. And then this is just a hard padded case
The
that
only-
I have. This is a one backup drive I have, and I have another one for other stuff.
So, what Alex from Self-Hosted does is he takes all of his really important stuff. I would assume he probably does compression on it, like to shrink the size up a little bit, and then he sticks it on just like a little laptop grade SSD, puts it in a padded case, and then ships it to his mom's house, where she puts it in a safe. It works pretty good. If he needs it, she can just mail it to him. I think he actually has like just 4 drives and he cycles through them. Like she mails him a drive and he fills it up with new data and then he ships it back. It's a pretty good solution.
Well, that solution that you mentioned, Jason, is great. It's perfect. But my problem with it is not remembering to take it out and update enough. So you put it in there and it's great. You got a copy of it, but it may be 6 months old because you forgot to actually back it up again.
Well, that is definitely one of the downfalls of it. You probably have to put in like a to-do manager or something like that. Your to-do list that's automatically emailing you at a set time or something like that, and you get this email that says, "Okay, check your system. Does it need to be backed up? Have it do it like once every couple of weeks or something." I mean, I don't have enough data. I don't have nearly as much data as probably a lot of you guys, because a lot of you stream and do that kind of stuff. I just have my personal data. My videos and pictures of, the cats, and things of that nature, and, some personal files, taxes, whatever. So, I have a 4 terabyte drive that's probably, has like probably half full. And, that's in there. And I just take it out, slap it into a caddy, USB 3 caddy, back up when I need to, slap it back in the case and go. Hey, Bob.
Well, there's a couple of different solutions, Wendy. I don't know if it would interest you, but I have tried every storage option out there online, and there are some that are better than others. Even backing up to Google Drive, I shouldn't say that, but pCloud is a really good storage place, and so is Spider Oak, and they both have native Linux apps to upload your files to. Obviously it's a paid service. The only problem that I have with it is the initial upload. Like, it is huge and it takes forever. Yes. But once you get it uploaded, it just does it automatically. Now, the difference with pCloud is it doesn't store it on your computer. It stores it on their cloud, integrates a virtual folder into your desktop so that you can see them, manage them. But if you want them, you download them. So that's the main focus of their thing. They do have like a storage option where you can sync certain folders, but that's, like I said, I don't know about that. Spider Oak is just a normal backup program that you sync. It's encrypted. Seems to be one of the more popular ones when you're concerned about privacy and whatnot. So.
Well, it doesn't have to be everything, but my kids' entire lives are in digital photos.
How many
If I
times do you
ever
need
lost
to access
those,
them?
I'd cry. I don't need to access them often, but if I want to go back and see the baby pictures of my 13-year-old, I don't want to have them all of a sudden be gone. Or if there's a fire, the lives of all of my kids up to date being gone.
Because
you could use something like Amazon. Yeah.
Go ahead, Donnie.
So AWS S3, they have the archive version. It's like 0.00099 cents per gigabyte, and it allows you to access it maybe twice a year.
That might be good. That might be the way to go.
Yep.
So it's a good backup solution for you if you want, if you're never gonna check them, or maybe once or twice a year.
Or if you're just concerned about having a copy of them.
Exactly. It's
That's
backup of a
legit
backup.
Google.
Yeah, if you're concerned about a fire, this is a great solution. You have them on a hard drive, but you still have them in the cloud.
And there's nothing wrong with having 2 services either. Backing them one place and backing them up in another place. So, yep. All right. Anybody else have something they want? Tyler, your hand's up.
So I got a new toy in yesterday. I got my Pine Tab.
Nice. So what do you think about it?
I haven't gotten mine yet.
Yep. So
wait. Does it actually turn on?
Yes, it does.
Okay. That's a plus. It's a plus.
So the hardware feels really nice, typical of Pine 64. The keyboard, for being a $20 add-on, actually feels really good. And right now, as far as the software, it's what you expect for the type of device it is this early on. It is very alpha-like, but it's still fun to play around with.
Right. So how much software is there?
So I've only really been playing with UB ports and what's available in the open store.
Mm-hmm.
I've not really dug in and tried to set up like the Libertine containers or anything like that. And because it's this early on, I've not actually looked and explored to see if anyone actually has images other than UB ports available for it yet. So for the moment, I'm sticking with UB ports, and I'm probably not gonna venture out of that for the immediate future.
Right. Well, you're gonna have to give us some updates, dude, on it. Once it, I mean, obviously they're gonna. I would think you're just gonna get updates over the air, right?
Yeah.
Or you're gonna have to re-image it.
So, oh no, I don't have to re-image it. When I first booted it and signed into it, there's already an update waiting for me to download and install. So yeah, UB ports is nice like that.
Yeah, definitely gonna have to give us some updates.
Tyler, I have a question.
Yeah.
When did you order yours?
Was it late May, early June timeframe?
Okay, so you
when they did that one batch, yeah.
Yeah, just before I ordered mine, like the 13th or 14th of June, something like that.
Right, and like I said, I think that because of the form factor, this is going to be infinitely more useful for me than the Pine phone is, because I can like take this. It'll be useful for me to even just with the web browser to go to like a D&D session when those start up again, and pull up the website we use for that. And I haven't played around the camera; it doesn't seem to work yet, but it'd be cool to be able to like maybe use it for meetings. I haven't tested the microphone yet.
Okay. All right. Anybody else have anything they want to bring up?
Yeah. My daughter gave me a Google Nest Mini for Father's Day last weekend.
Gosh. Here we go. We're going to have another conversation about Google.
I didn't have to say a single word, Rocco.
This is all your fault, Shickle. This is all your fault.
Can you believe that?
You are influencing people, Shickle.
And well, I had nothing to do with that. She just bought it for me, and I went, "Oh, a Google Nest Mini, probably the one thing I really didn't want in the house." But I've been trying it out, Rocco. And I was, I had it sitting next to my bed, and I was going to sleep the other night, and I said, "Hey Google, Linux user space, episode 4." I thought was the latest. She goes, "Oh, this is the latest episode." So I just started playing it. Thought, well, that's pretty awesome.
Well, that can't be that bad then, right?
That's
how they get you.
Is that how they get you?
I fell asleep about 20 minutes in.
They get you by offering you things that work great. That's how they get you.
Well, the problem is it relies on a lot of these streaming services and all that, which I'm not really a member of any of those things, Spotify and all that. I think you can do Spotify for free, but you can cast your audio to it, which is pretty handy. So that's not too bad. So I was really messing with Google during the week, Rocco.
Were you giving it false information?
I was asking it to do a couple of things, and she said, "No, I can't do that." And I said, "Google, hey Google, I'm disappointed." She says, "I'm sorry about that. Would you like me to report it?"
That's fantastic. I love
it. So I've been giving Google a hard time. Sometimes you just got to give Google a hard time just to get some back.
See, Colin, I learned something new today. You're an anti-streamer. That's what you are, right?
Yeah, I'm old-fashioned, Rock. I like to have my stuff physically, to be honest. I'm a bit old-fashioned that way. If I want some music, I'll buy it online, whatever. I don't really buy much music. I've got my huge music collection, which I've put on all, mostly digital. And I like to play my music off the phone or whatever. That's the way I am. Because I was only talking to a guy at work the other day. He's just a Spotify fan. He plays music over Spotify on one of the devices at work. And And, you know, I said to him, but you don't really own your music. And he said, you can download it, he said. I think he said.
Yes, you can.
Can. Yeah, I don't know. I just old-fashioned.
No, you
Call
know
me
something,
old-fashioned.
Colin, you're not alone because I'm the same way. Because what happens if I am walking, let's say, take my dog for a walk up and down the hills, and there's no cell service. So,
Well,
yeah, there you
okay,
go.
so
That's
let's
what
talk.
downloading is for. So you can
Exactly.
see, like, we use
But-
Spotify
Right.
a lot and have the family plan. So all the
Mhm.
kids have their own Spotify account, which then I have parental controls over with. So they still get to listen to their music. It's downloadable. And I don't have them constantly asking, Mom, can I buy this? Mom, can I buy this? Mom, can I buy this? No, you can't.
Right.
But this way, they still get to listen to their music that they like.
Well, I think we need to have a conversation about those music players because we talked about it, I don't know, a couple of weeks ago on Biddle, and I had said I was trying out a couple different ones like Tidal and Qobuz and stuff. So, but Chickle, go ahead.
Oh yeah, so it's kind of a mix into this whole Google streaming thing. I mean, Colin, I'm with you there on the Nest thing. I mean, I have 6 of them in my house.
Wow.
And then I have
He's been all
4
Googled
Alexa
up.
devices. I have 3 Cortana enabled devices, and I have 4 Siri devices. So I'm basically having them all compete with each other for my data, and I'll see which one wins.
Oh, wow.
Whatever.
I love
but
how
yeah,
calmly and collected you just said that. It
I'm
was
just-
just nonchalant.
I've
It was just
accepted
okay.
it.
So let me ask you this: how long have you started this process? When did you start this process?
Me?
Yeah.
I think the first Alexa one we got was about 4 years ago, and then the first Google one we got was last year, and then we've had Cortana since like 2016.
Okay, so which, in your opinion, is better?
Google Assistant hands down is way better, but Alexa has much better like integration support for specific things. So it's really weird because like Google Assistant is way smarter. Alexa, it's just like I think Amazon just is more willing to pay people to do stuff. So yeah. But yeah, I think Google probably takes the cake. Oh, Alexa's listening right now. Go away. I just saw the little
not
blue
happy
light.
at all.
Yeah,
It's
she
got
knew
to
you
turn
were
the
talking
power off
about
to your
her.
home. Jealous.
Yep.
About to tell you all.
So with streaming services in particular, this is kind of where I was getting into that, is that Google is more limited in what kinds of streaming services are supported out of the box, whereas like Alexa will do a lot more. There's skills and plugins for those things, whereas Google's limited to like 5 or 6, which is still a lot, but it does things that Alexa doesn't. Like, I'm on my laptop right now. If I wanted the audio from this stream to just play out over my speakers, I can cast it to any speaker in the device or any any speaker in the house. And you know, they're all named. I know where they're playing. There's even a thing that I can set up with Bluetooth where it will change where it's playing from based on where I am in the house. So if I walk from my room to the kitchen, it will get louder as I walk away and then fade out and get louder in the kitchen. So basically I keep the audio that my entire way there. So pretty cool stuff.
Wow.
It literally relies on tracking you physically at every single second to do
That's
that. But
so
who cares?
enticing. You know, like being tracked every single moment. Like that's great.
Absolutely. But I think what's made it worth it, I figure since I'm basically, I mean, I'm using a Chromebook right now, so it's not like I'm really gonna gain anything by not using Nest. So for me, it's kind of like, well, I've already given up. I might as well just make the most of it. We got a new TV which has like the Android TV stuff, and it has been amazing because it supports just like screen, like you just send my screen right up there on the TV. It's got voice controls, it's got like all of that stuff, and I can play music on it, I can watch movies on it, and just seamlessly bounce between devices.
I don't think any of us would argue against the features that it brings. I think most of us, most of us would
Yeah.
argue about the privacy. Well, I mean, anybody would love to have those types of features. Well, not anybody. Maybe some people don't care about that. But what I'm saying is, nobody would have a problem with having those features. It's the privacy end of it.
Yeah.
It has a physical. Sorry, Shickle, but I was going to say it has a physical switch. You can turn it off.
That's true. That's one thing I do like.
It cannot detect your voice.
But I think it's more than just that. It's also the fact that everything that you ask it to do or whatever is stored somewhere.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
But
so
so are
that it
Google
gets
searches.
to know using and knowing what you're interested in or what you're doing, or you listen to music, type of music, blah, blah, blah. And then it kind of just tailors everything to whatever.
There's a
and
plus
it knows
side
too
to
much
that.
about you. I mean, really, it
Right.
knows way too much about you.
So the thing that I've kind of I get that, but what I realized is that like it's no different than searching in Google and using YouTube, because it knows what I'm searching anyway. It knows the only difference is now that I'm asking it with my voice instead of my fingers. So that's kind of like they already know it
But
anyway.
the plus side is that when you search for something, it pretty much knows what you're looking for anyway, or most of the time. Now, you may not want that. You may not want them to know, and that's perfectly fine. But there is a plus side to that for people that doesn't bother them. And I think that is that customizing of your what you like, basically. So definitely could be a plus.
What bothers me, Rocco, is Google will turn the TV on for me, but it won't turn it off. I'm a bit annoyed about that.
It won't do that?
I don't know if it's because my wife's Google account is plugged into the TV and mine's not. Maybe that's the reason. But it'll
That
turn
could be.
But I'll say, but I'll tell
listen to the
Google to turn the
husband.
TV on, turns it on, but it won't turn it off.
You know what I've
what's that all
noticed,
about?
Colin, is that with Google, like it seems to do all right with turning on and turning off and stuff like that. But like I was using Alexa with our previous TV, which was like a Roku TV. She could turn it off and turn it on, but she couldn't like control the volume, and she couldn't control like pause or play stuff. But Google will do those, but not do the volume. And I'm like, can we just like how hard is this to just literally just press the volume down button virtually? Like I don't understand.
Evidently very hard.
Yes.
Apparently, and this is what reminds me. This exact issue where it will only do some things. My car has a feature where if I hold down the unlock button, it will remotely roll my windows down. But you know what it won't do? Roll them back up. So I have to get in, turn the engine on, and roll them up. So
That's terrible. I mean, that is absolutely
welcome
terrible that we have to do
technology.
that.
Yes.
Aris, go ahead.
Such first world problems, you know?
Yeah.
I was gonna say all this talk about a Google Now assistant and everything. The other day, I had something really creepy come out. We were all, I think, eating at the time, and we all started talking. And all of a sudden, says Google, "How can I help you?" Nobody activated the phone. Nobody talked about anything related to Google, and it just pops out. And like, why was that thing listening all this time?
Yeah,
it probably sounded like hey Google or something like that. It's happened. I've had the TV or my phone pick up when I'm watching one of their streams, whether it's Big Daddy Linux or something like that, and something sounds like it, and it's supposed to be your voice that activates it, but it pretty much anything that's said.
It's listening all the time because it has to be in order to catch them words. So that's just part of it.
But what's funny is my assistant, she was asking me if I've ever caught Cobra Kai, the follow-up to Karate Kid. And I said, oh yeah, I watch all the Karate Kid movies and that. I normally keep my phone in my pocket, but I had it on my desk. The next day, there were 3 Cobra Kai videos in my feed.
Oh yeah.
Yep, that happens, dude. That does happen.
And I want to be mad about it, but like I find that it just like it's so convenient for me. Like even ads, because like since I've opted into all the personalization stuff, I get ads that save me tons of money. So I'm like, I can't complain.
Shickle has drank the Kool-Aid. He has.
Apparently, yeah.
They save you
worth.
Yeah.
Is it really saving you money if you're just buying more things but at a good deal?
Well, But the thing is that like it's stuff I'm gonna buy anyway. But now it's like, but hey, it's on sale here, and I'm like, oh, I like here. It's less.
Well, it's like we used to get these some auto dealers used to sell these coupon books. You can save up to $660 with these coupons, but you got to
Yep.
spend $6,000 to use the $660. So what did you
Crazy.
save? You know, it just sounded good.
Yeah.
Well, I think everybody has that line where they either want to be there where Schickle is, or they don't want to be anywhere near where Schickle is. So
Yeah.
I'm half and half.
Word to the
Yeah,
wise. if
I
you're
don't want to
probably
be anywhere near that.
if you're
I'll
in
tell
like
you what,
a
it's-
block of my area, you're probably already on like microphone. Just get near me and they know.
Okay. He pulled my.
It is pretty handy for asking what the weather is. Can you set me a wake up time and all those sorts of things? It's got those little handy features that you don't have to worry about, all these
Yeah.
things. But
Colin, don't
that's
drink
handy,
it.
I find. But
Don't drink
It's like it's Android
Don't
Auto.
drink it, you're right.
he
I'm-
says.
Android
Yeah,
Auto
that's
is awesome in the car.
Oh,
but,
yeah.
Listening to all this,
but yet
so, like,
every
when
once in
it
a while I
works.
accidentally hit a spot on, if I'm looking at Google Maps, like some address comes up and my wife goes, whose address is that? I'm like, I have no idea. She goes, you sure? I'm like, I did, because I was looking at something and phone moved and I must have, did a click on the map. Now it shows up on my Android Auto.
Mhm.
I've never been there.
Yep.
Yeah, that's like as
Yep.
crazy as a friend of mine. Like we used to meet at Barnes and Noble all the time, and when we would leave, when we were both leaving in our cars, her car would pick up my podcast that I was listening to. And so and we live like about a mile from each other, so we drive home the same way. And she kept hearing the podcast I was listening to, which I think was a Linux podcast. And now that was weird. And my phone had never been synced with her stereo system in her
That's
car.
amazing.
Isn't that weird?
Yep.
Wow.
Schickle is like, that's so awesome.
I will.
It still
I'm
happens.
fascinated.
It
I'm
still
like a kid in a
happens. It's
candy
so funny.
store.
Spreading the word about Linux.
Back in the day with the baby monitors, and
Oh yeah.
people that lived behind us had a baby monitor the same time we did, and it's like
Radio waves.
all of a sudden, he was sleeping upstairs and we're watching TV and we hear a baby cry. Go upstairs and it's like, nice sleep. Come back down a few minutes later, we have baby cry again. He's sound asleep. We were picking up the neighbors. I'm like, I wonder what they can hear.
Yeah.
Nothing.
Well,
You hear
that's like
nothing.
when they had, because this doesn't happen anymore, but back, I remember like in the 70s and stuff, back in the dark ages, you'd be sitting there in your living room listening to the stereo and you would hear somebody's CB transmission coming out through your
Yep.
speakers.
Yep.
And that doesn't happen anymore, which is really nice because that was really annoying.
So
I had those
Rocco,
experiences.
Jellyfin's awesome.
Mhm.
Not Google.
Oh,
Jellyfin. Okay.
tell us.
So,
Great.
all
It's
this
not
talk
Google.
of-
It's not hosted somewhere else.
So all this talk of Google Assistant, it's got me thinking I should boot up my Mycroft.
Yeah. No, I don't even want that. So.
Oh no,
I gotta represent Mycroft, hometown, Lawrence, the mate here. So
Well,
Yeah,
then, remember the classic one with Mycroft was the Ask Mycroft about beans?
Yep.
yes.
Yes, I
got-
love that one.
on Food Geekery on our Telegram group, we have one person who hasn't come to the group through Linux podcasting Telegram group. And so we were talking about breakfast and I brought up beans. And of course we went into what are beans? And he's like, why are you all making jokes about this? We're like, oh, he hasn't seen it. So we linked
doesn't
it
know.
to him. Popey's actually in the group and he's like not active. And I'm just like, well, this will be the morning that he'll decide to actually log in.
Yep.
But it was really, I didn't realize like how insular my Telegram communities are, because I'm like, everybody else on every other channel knows what are beans, and this guy had no idea. So he thought it was very cool. He also thought that was that the Minecraft Mark 1 or 2?
Yes, it was the Mark 1, and
It
because
was
that was
so
a fun one. 'Cause I remember
it's
seeing
so
the
adorable.
development of like the prototypes because we used to hold our lug meetings at the office where Minecraft started.
That's cool.
So
That's
that
really
was
cool.
fun.
Yeah, I mean, it looks like Wally. It's just it's it's really cute. So
Yeah, I backed it because it was like I saw it in development and it was like, oh, okay, local project going on. That's fun. And as far as beans and breakfast, the best kind of beans for breakfast are those you can grind up and pour hot water through, and you get a nice black liquid out of it.
Wow.
No, you don't pour them through. You let them mix together and then you filter it out.
All right, Eris, go ahead.
I wanted to bring up something for discussion.
Do it. We have to get back on topic anyway, so at least something Linux related.
A few weeks back, Farron tried to make a change to KDE to Plasma.
Mm-hmm.
Change it from single click by default to double click.
Oh my god!
And I was gonna base this all about like back to the other topic on BDL Europe, and I was gonna talk about how I think that the diversity helps in the distros. It doesn't have to be one system, and I thought it was a good change because Plasma, if you look at it, if you just don't know anything about Plasma, it kind of does look like Windows.
Has that same paradigm, yeah.
The look of it is very flat, and the panels at the bottom, and like the menu is sort of like it, I guess now. But once you start clicking around, you start noticing that there's no double click, and it's something that is not normal in most, I think, or I would say like the majority of like distros, or even like OSs, like Mac OS is not like that. Windows is not like that. And it seems like if you're trying to go for that look, especially now that they switched over to icons only taskbar, it seems like you're trying to go with a somewhat familiar paradigm, and it would make sense for me to pick double click instead of single click, because it like the saying goes for Plasma, simple by default, powerful when needed. I mean, you can debate that, but that's the whole saying.
Well, do we really want to debate single click versus double click?
No,
because we have done that many times. I will say
no debate.
I'm okay with either way it should be. If that's the way they want to do it, I'm going to change it regardless. I've been changing it to single click since Windows days. So maybe I think it should be default single click. It's easier. I'll make that argument any day of the week, but I don't really care what they do with the default.
Save the mice, Rocco.
Save the mice, Colin. Hashtag save the mice. We've been there. See, we've had that discussion, and it's like, yeah. Then we get called shallow and everything else. Kai, go ahead.
So I just saw this like while we were speaking about all that Farron OS and double click versus single click stuff. Apparently, NVIDIA is near deal to buy ARM for $40 billion.
Yep.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, I just discovered this from Foronix, and looks trustworthy because they linked multiple news sources of this being an actual possibility.
Yeah, they had talked about it before.
Yeah. That one kind of jumped right on me. I was not expecting that at all.
Yes, Eric Adams, I love it. Yes. Crazy idea. Add it offer it as an option when you first log in. Perfect.
A plugin. Make it a plugin that you have to download separately.
No, just offer the option. Which do you like? Single click or double click? Perfect. There you go.
That'll work.
All right, so I want to go back to the music players because I want to talk about the different ones that we have. The streaming ones, because Barb, you had asked about service and whatnot. So I've been trying out, I mean, I have a Spotify account. That's not the issue. I've been trying out Tidal and I've been trying out Qobuz, and all three of them have some great features to them. and some of them have some bad features to it. But if you're wondering, in Spotify, all you have to do is when you like a song and put it in your liked albums, when you hit the heart, you have a playlist of all your liked songs. You can just check the button that says auto download, and it will automatically download every one of those songs. So it doesn't matter if you have service or not. You can still play those songs.
Oh, okay. Because that to me has always been the big problem. And I do like to have my quote hard copies of my music.
Well, some people prefer that, and some people won't want to use any kind of streaming service like that. But they all have like different cool features. Like, for example, Tidal has the option to listen to higher quality music. So you can listen to hi-fi music if you like to, and Qobuz the same way. You have the option to listen to 24-bit music if you want to. Now, obviously, you're going to run into bandwidth issues, I guess, if you're streaming that all the time. Like, so unlimited is not unlimited, you know, where you get like I have unlimited data, and I got a message. Get this. My plan starts, I guess, like September 1st. I got a message September 8th that said you're low on data. Once you use another gigabyte of data, you're going to be slowed down to very low speeds. And I'm like, geez, I did that in like 6 days. It's like I go the rest of the month. But so then I actually switched to Spotify, where I could, you know, use the downloaded songs that I have already. But have you guys tried Tidal or Qobuz?
Actually, haven't heard of either.
No,
I've heard of Tidal. I dealt a lot with that company back when I originally worked with Apple. I was in the iTunes accounts and billing department, so I got to deal with everybody's billing issues. And the biggest issue with Tidal is that they had a lot of hidden fees. That back in the day, they had a lot of issues where people were getting charged for things that on Tidal that they weren't supposed to be getting charged.
Oh, wow.
And then they had a lot of issues with Tidal. Was a lot of companies, well, not companies, but hackers, I guess you could say, were signing people up onto family plans and stuff like that. It's just a crazy whole bunch of security issues with Tidal that were going on with people's accounts. So I don't even go near Tidal. The one that I particularly use is Pandora.
Right.
I just put on a playlist. I make a playlist, add it to, pick the songs I want, add it to a playlist, and just let it go.
Very
I don't
nice.
need anything. I don't need anything fancy. All that other stuff.
Well, so we had talked about these before, and they were talking about discoverability for music that you like. And I have to say that even though I like Qobuz, I think that's the biggest lacking feature in it, is that, man, the music that they think you like is just absolutely terrible. I mean, it is. And they don't have any, unlike Spotify and Tidal, where they have like mixes where they see a couple songs you like and then they mix a few others in there, and they're really pretty good, actually. Qobuz doesn't even have that option. Like, it's just in that area, in discoverability, it's really bad. In everything else, it's actually pretty good.
Yeah, with Pandora, they have it's pretty good in Pandora. Like, I'll make a playlist, and then I'll leave on autoplay on. So as soon as that playlist is done, it's automatically going to play songs based off of what's in that playlist. Similar songs, similar artists, and stuff like that. And depending on, sometimes I'll have like soft rock stuff or hard rock, whatever the case may be, and it's pretty good. I've never had an issue. I mean, obviously, every once in a while, you're gonna get a song like, I don't like that song,
Right.
hit the thumbs down button or whatever. But for the most part, discoverability has been really good as far as that goes, because it picks up a lot of songs. I find myself, it's like, oh, I like that song. I'm gonna click to add that to my collection, and then add that to that playlist, and that way it's on there for later.
Yep. Well, you may not think that the quality of the music is important, but it is in one sense, and that is the volume that you can play it at. So when you get into Spotify, it's really a lower quality form of music, which some people will say they don't care, but coming through maybe like your car stereo or whatever, it's going to be at a lower volume than the higher quality Qobuz or Tidal if you choose to do that. So obviously they're paid services, so you would choose what you want. But I still say that Spotify has probably the best service all around. I wish they offered a higher quality plan where you could, where if I wanted to choose to pay for higher quality music, I could get it. But yeah, Shickle, go ahead.
So, I was a Spotify user, like a big Spotify user for a while, and I used to hate Spotify just because I wanted something to hate. And then I started using it and I liked it. One thing that I noticed with it was that if you want better audio quality, you turn your equalization settings down to like what's called low, which isn't really adjusting like the actual sound differences between them. It's just dropping everything. And so when you play them through at louder volumes, you get a lot more clarity. But if you set it to loud, it reaches that peak that the other services will tend to do. But you can only do this if you it's only really effective if you have the quality set to as high as possible and also adjust the loudness settings in Spotify. But I really liked Google Play Music for a couple of reasons. The first was that like discovering new songs that I actually liked. Now I have a very wide taste in music. I'll
Me
listen
too.
to anything. Yeah. So like I get that it's hard to really target to me in some ways, but it's also it should be pretty easy in most other aspects because I like so much. Yet somehow services still seem to find things that I'm like, why are you giving this to me and how is it related to what I just listened to? So Google Play Music was really good at being intuitive about what I might like and giving me new things constantly. Spotify is great at finding what I like, but doesn't give me new things as often. So it doesn't mix it up quite as much. So the consistency can be nice, but I find less stuff through there.
Right.
And YouTube Music is great because literally everything is there, but like it's also incredibly dull and like it doesn't really seem to be very smart. It'll play like the same songs multiple times every so often, and
you are
sometimes
absolutely
it'll
right
play
with that.
like different versions of the same song, one right after another, and I'm like, okay, you got to be better than that, surely.
Yep.
So that's my current struggle.
I was on a drive with, because I try all of these out, and I was listening to Google Music or not Google Music, YouTube Music, and it was, I think it played the same song 4 times on like an hour drive, and I was like, really? I mean, like, no, not even trying it. Nope.
Well, it's like Sirius. When I bought my Ford, I get Sirius for a year. I didn't, you had 100 and some channels, like with cable TV, 100 and something channels and nothing's on. And you set up the stations and that. Okay, I'm gonna listen to the hard rock one, this one, and it's like every couple hours, it's the same playlist.
Yep.
And I'm like, if I'm gonna listen to the same thing, it's gonna be something that I like. So got my phone loaded up. I got the Android Auto, works great. Google Play, I'm good. So I keep getting, this past week, I've gotten 2 things from Sirius. I mean, they got it to a point where I can get an Echo Dot and Sirius for car and home for like under $6 a month. But I don't really want that. Well, I had gone to the dealer just to get a tire fix. Oh, you were at your dealer. We're going to offer you 3 months of Sirius free. All right. Well, I'm not going to give up 3 months free, but I set it up last weekend. I still haven't listened to it because I'm listening to podcasts, you guys. I'm listening to some audio books, and I don't see the benefits of it. My wife likes it because she listens to maybe 2 channels out of it. But it's trying to get it. I've been a Rhapsody user, which is now called Napster, for over 10 years. And I've been pleased with their music selection. Used to be able to do the download, but then when Windows went to Windows 10, you can't download crap anymore because they don't do DRM anymore. So I can't do offline stuff.
Yep. Harris?
I was going to ask, I don't have any other service except Spotify. Do the other services provide better ways to handle playlists? Because I cannot stand Spotify's way. Like I want a way so that let's say I make a playlist and somehow this playlist will also go into this other playlist, kind of like link them. or if I can like duplicate playlists. It always seems like the playlist functionality in Spotify is so limited. And also, like, if I try to copy over, like, I'd say like over 300 songs at a time, it won't do it. It'll just select some of them, not all of them. So I don't know if that's better for the other programs or
to be honest with you, I haven't checked out the playlist because I'm not a big playlist person. I will most of the time just click on the liked songs and shuffle play that. So I find it hard to set my music up where I'm listening to the song and it sounds really good. Well, now I go and I have to heart it to put it on the like section. Yeah. And then I have to go in and add it to a playlist. And it just seems redundant. I
also do that, but I've also noticed this. Spotify does not give you a true shuffle. They it's kind of like a radio. Like it gives you the same songs over and over again shuffle. And that's what I try to make a playlist. And I'll just play it alphabetically just to get more randomness, because the way that Spotify does shuffling, it's just like it tries to figure out what you like, and then it just avoids other songs and you put in the playlist.
This came up in conversation the other day because the playlist my husband had going when we were in the mountains was playing the same songs over and over again. My daughter commented, if you have it on shuffle continuously, it'll end up sticking to the same songs. If you take it off shuffle, put it back on shuffle, then it helps regenerate a new population of songs on that playlist.
Right. Because it'll be basing those decisions on whatever's like in that current ranking. So if it switches it up, then it has new data to go off of. So it won't change if you use it on the same thing over and over again. So you do actually have to change the orders.
Yeah, I've definitely found that before, that like I'll get a mix that's clearly kind of biased to a certain section of songs, and you have to unshuffle it and reshuffle it till it's actually, random.
Sometimes I don't mind that, because if I've got a workout playlist and there's certain songs that are the best for that, I don't mind if those same songs hit.
Everybody
on
dance
a regular
now.
basis.
Heck yeah.
Right?
I haven't lifted to that, but that would be a pretty interesting.
What's the lifting music, Wendy?
My favorite lifting music right now is Celtic punk.
Oh,
really?
Wow.
That's
incredible. Wow.
I don't know. I have to listen to like some type of really hard rock doing that. Like that's just, I don't know. That's my taste.
It's pretty fast paced and pretty loud, and so where I haven't been able to put my earbuds in lately, it's harder to have that playlist on because some of it is not appropriate for my children being around when it's on. But otherwise, that's been my favorite lifting music lately.
When I work out, I listen to like the Drifters and the Platters and stuff. Like it's wow.
Nothing wrong with any of that.
I love it.
Like
but yeah,
Dropkick Murphys and Rum Jacks and.
Oh my gosh.
That's incredible.
Hey, there's a Leo $sign Chavez that snuck in.
The one and only.
What's happening, brother?
Big money.
Not a whole lot. Just enjoying my weekend. Would it be absolutely out of line if I said I did Apple Music for?
No, absolutely not.
Oh no.
Has anybody said that so far?
No.
I came in about midway through the conversation. I was watching it a little bit on the YouTube. But yeah. I don't know. The playlists are fine. I mean, they're there.
I've had great experiences with Apple Music.
Yeah,
you've had what?
Shekel, go ahead.
Oh, sorry, I froze for a bit. My bad. I've had great experiences with Apple Music. I'm glad that you brought that up because I totally forgot about it. And
yeah, it's a good option. It costs the same as all the other ones. And I mean, if you've got an iPhone or iDevice,
but there was something, Leo, about Apple Music that I had originally, had a subscription and I canceled it for some reason and I can't remember why. I wish I could remember.
It's too premium for you.
No,
maybe.
No.
Well,
Tidal and
quality,
Qobuz are really premium. Let me tell you.
Yeah, y'all were talking about quality. I don't know what Apple Music streams at, but it seems pretty decent. And for everything else, I've got Plex. So any of my own library or something like that, I'll just stream it through Plex.
Well,
Right.
for you, Rocco, maybe you should try out Apple Music again and see if you can, just give it a fresh compare if you haven't used it in a while.
It's not a bad idea
There you
because
go.
I
Give
haven't
Apple more
tried
money.
it in a while.
There it is.
But-
Leo said
but-
Plex and Alex was summoned.
Ah, there he
I
is.
know, that's powerful.
Yes, but see, Jason, the problem is, again, anytime you try a new service, it's a lot of time invested. Like, this was a lot of time invested in trying out Tidal and Qobuz, and now to just go switch, and now I have all the songs I want in this particular service, and now I want to try Apple Music again. It's like so much time involved.
You see, I haven't tried anything. I mean, I can't say anything about trying other services. I mean, I have not tried Apple Music. I've troubleshot it and stuff like that when I worked for Apple, so I decided I didn't want to even deal with Apple Music just for the back end of things, knowing what's going on and stuff like that. I've never tried. I mean, I tried Spotify for free when it was free back in the day, and it wasn't my thing. I had something to do with the interface or something I didn't like, and never used Tidal. Like I said, I just one day when Pandora came out, it was a free service. It had commercials, unfortunately. And then you could initially pay for the service, the fee for whatever to get rid of the commercials, which I do. It's like what, $7 a month or something like that. I
Right.
forget what it is. And I mean, I wish I could. The only thing I wish I could check though is actually how much time I spend listening to Pandora radio, because like it's on right now in the background. It's when I work, I have it on just as a background, very very low in the background, so that I can barely hear it, and this microphone usually doesn't pick it up too much. At least at my other jobs, nobody's ever complained about it. And it's on constantly.
I will say I did look up Apple Music's bitrate. It's 256 kilobits AAC, which is pretty equivalent to 320 kilobits MP3. So
Right.
pretty
Well,
decent.
Red Robbo in chat said Spotify's is rated at 320 kilobytes. So it's supposed to be there, but like I said, I don't know why, but there is a noticeable difference in the quality of the volume of the songs. I could sit there and have the volume on the truck stereo, the same volume, and I could switch between players, and you can just hear the difference in the volume.
Now maybe
One
that's a
thing-
loudness wars thing, because I know a lot of modern music is loud. It hits 0 dB. I mean, that is the cap. And back in the day, 60s and 70s, we were looking at not that. It was way below that. So if you listen to modern music versus older music, and maybe Spotify just brings everything down to make it nice and even, and you don't notice a difference between old and new stuff.
Maybe
they do try and do that. Google Play Music actually did this with a switch that would allow you to manually control that. But
Is
Spotify,
it like the
there's
Roku
no.
where you can choose night mode and so it balances out the talking to the action?
Kinda
sounds?
like that, yeah.
Which
That's
now
exactly
I
what I
can
was
watch
thinking.
movies
Except for
without
volume,
it.
yeah.
Yeah, if anything comes on my TV that's like 10 dB louder than everything else, I'm just like, nah, I'm not watching
frustrating.
anymore. That's no
hate
thanks.
that. Oh,
Yeah, my husband
Commercials.
really needs that when he watches TV in bed, because it's like quiet, 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 loud. But speaking of Google Music, when I really enjoyed it, and I don't know if anybody used it, but there used to be a streaming service called Songza, and Google Music ended up buying them, and their curated playlists were fantastic. And I heard music that I'd never heard of, but I just really enjoyed it. And then Google Music bought them, and stupid me didn't copy any of my playlists. And I was just, as we've been talking, I'm like, how many playlists have I orphaned on all these different services that I've dropped? And I kind of wish that there was an easier way to, kind of like how you export bookmarks when you switch, let's like say from Chrome to Firefox, that you could just export your playlists and then bring them into whatever your new service is. That would just be really nice.
That would be wonderful, because when we made the jump from Amazon Music to Spotify, that was the biggest pain, was recreating playlists.
Yep. Well, I did incorporate an outside service. I can't remember what it was. It was a certain website that actually took the Spotify playlists and put them into Tidal. Didn't work exactly correct. Like some of the songs were there, but they didn't show up as an actual playlist in Tidal. But they do have services that will switch those over.
I will say one thing about YouTube Music that I think sometimes I think YouTube Music is a little dense because it just doesn't quite work the way a lot of these other services does. Google Play Music was fantastic, and I'm a little torn. I think YouTube Music is really great for people who tend to do most of their stuff on YouTube anyway, and people who would just look up a song, play it, look up a song, play it. And so it's already kind of there and knows what to suggest and how. Whereas people coming from other music streaming services or like normal music streaming services where there's a specific focus on just music and a certain way of doing it, it's much harder to morph to what they like. And that's my theory on why YouTube Music isn't super great, is because it's like great for the normal user who just will pop up songs and stuff in YouTube, not great for the more advanced music listener who's really invested in their player and their experience.
Alex, go ahead. What do you think
Good
about
evening,
all
everybody.
of this?
Hello. I've got a couple of thoughts. Firstly, I use Spotify simply out of convenience. I'm a bit of an audiophile. I've got a couple of sets of high quality speakers and, nice headphones. So I do appreciate the finer aspects of, audio and that kind of thing. I've done a fair bit of A/B testing in my time, and, as a trained musician, I honestly can't hear much difference. There is some, it's very subtle, above 320k MP3. FLAC is better, but not so much so that it's like, whoa.
Yeah. What do you think about the different services, dude? Like Tidal and Qobuz.
That's where I was headed. So, Tidal plugs into Plex, and that's really nice. I actually really like this because it allows me to use or have my music locally that I used to own on CDs that I ripped 10 years ago, whenever it was, put it onto a hard drive, sold those CDs, and they're probably in someone else's attic now instead of mine. And Tidal fills in those gaps, and it's billed as a high res thing. I tried it. I tried the free trial, but honestly, between Spotify and Plex, there isn't much I can't get my hands on. But there is another way, which I don't know if anybody here knows about, called Funk Whale. And this is supposedly a decentralized music platform. It's a bit weird, but it's quite an interesting concept. And so I recommend, if you're interested in that whole decentralizing your life type ethos, take a quick look at Funk Whale, and you can spin it up in a container if that floats your boat.
Nice. All right, anybody else want to get in on that conversation?
Oh yeah, on the playlist thing, it's painful to say it because I just like semi-bashed on YouTube Music, even though it's what I use. YouTube playlists are kind of just a thing that are good because they adopted that from YouTube itself. I find that those tend to work a lot more consistently and reliably than like Spotify playlists tend to do. I think what I like about them is that you have the playlist and then you can either autoplay or not autoplay on the playlist. So if you have a playlist, but like if it runs out of music and you don't want it to just go back to the start, you can have it just automatically find new stuff, or you can not have it do that. So reduce your quality and increase your flexibility. Yay.
Last thing I'll say on the whole conversation is I wouldn't mind Spotify too terribly much, but they scared me off back in the day when I was a free user. I do not subscribe to Spotify on principle now. They're fine, but I won't do it. You guys remember the commercial back in the day with sirens? Do y'all remember that one?
Sirens?
Is that where it got real loud and real...
Yes.
Yeah.
And I mean, seriously, police sirens. And here I am driving home from work. Police sirens come out of nowhere. And it's like, subscribe to Spotify, $9.99. And it's like, good. So multiple times, it freaked me out on the way home. And yeah, that was it. Wrote it off. Never, not ever will I subscribe to Spotify unless it's free to me. Won't do it.
That's funny because there can be advertising campaigns that do that completely turn you off forever. And I think that's some of these companies don't understand that.
Well, you guys remember Head On?
Yeah.
The headache medicine? Yeah. Has anybody here ever actually bought that?
No.
Yeah.
No.
Never.
That was an annoying, really obnoxious commercial.
Yep.
Very obnoxious.
All right. So do you think we should talk about Linux?
Why would we ever do something like that, Rhonda?
It's not like in the name or anything.
Well, you know, it is what it is. Well, Prophetic,
What's up, everybody?
You got some background noise in your mic, brother.
Oh, yeah, cancel that.
So we have, you know, like a podcast, Linux User Space, right, Leo?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah, I forgot. We totally do that. Yeah, that's the thing.
We do. And we talked about some things on the podcast this past Monday. Was it this past Monday? I think it released.
Yeah.
And about
I'm going to go with yes.
About a distro. So, you know, everybody knows here that we don't do the distro challenges anymore because we're trying to keep it more of an open forum so people feel they can join no matter what, even if they didn't try it. But that doesn't mean we don't want to check out any distros either. So everybody's free to do whatever they want. But what I would like to do is if we kind of follow along with Linux User Space in what distro the show is trying, that I would invite everybody here and everybody watching to join the distro of the month. Leo, what is that?
That's OpenSUSE. It's what I'm running right now. OpenSUSE Tumbleweed specifically, the rolling one, the scary one.
Yes.
I never had problems with it. It always seemed to work well.
So far, I think I have updated it wrong about 4 times, and it's still standing. So cool. Apparently, the only accepted way to upgrade it is sudo zipper dup.
Yep.
That's it. I've done GNOME software and sudo zipper up multiple times, and it's still here. It has not blown up in my face yet, so that's cool.
And you thought Pac-Man was bad.
Oh my! Well, zipper's not bad. It's the if I didn't read the blog about how to deal with it, I would never have known. I would have just let GNOME software take care of it, and that is the wrong way.
Yeah.
Well, the idea of this is not that we have to come on here every week and talk about whatever distro we're doing, but the idea is that we follow along with it. If you guys want to, you're more than welcome to install whatever distro of the month it is. This month is OpenSUSE. And then maybe every 2 weeks we get your guys' opinions on that distro. So it's not going to be a challenge, and it's not going to be formal, and it's not going to be anything crazy. It's just going to be, hey, do you want to check it out? And you can if you'd like to. So I don't know if you guys have any opinions on that, but that's what I would like to do.
Now, when you guys are doing your challenge on the user Linux space there, isn't that the are you guys doing it for a month or just for a couple of weeks?
Well, we were doing it for every 2 weeks. And then there are so many topics to talk about, dude. Like we had that one episode where we talked about Mozilla and the Linux community and stuff. And there are just so many topics to talk about. There's no way we want to wait like every third week or every, you know what I mean, that 1 week episode to talk about some of the topics because they're important. So we all agreed that we should go to a every other week topic episode and then still run the distro for a whole month, which gives us way more time to check out the distro and get into the, you know, areas that we might not been able to get to, because even though, I don't know about you, Leo, but 2 weeks sounds like a lot, but it's not exactly a lot of time when you want to dive deep into it.
Yeah, especially for a couple of reasons, actually. Number one, if you don't get it installed day one, we decide to do it, then you're already kind of behind, and that's not quite 2 weeks. But on the other hand, you're also shortchanging a distro, because when we did Fedora, I don't think the fprintd thing ever shook out during our time with it.
Right.
And as far as I understand, it's not an issue anymore. So if we tried it again right now, or if we gave it a month, we may have seen the end of that issue while we were on it.
Well, for example, I edit Linux user space, so that first week I'm editing. I don't get to install the distro, so that leaves me with 1 week to try it out. So this month gives us a lot of extra time to try it out. And like I said, we get to talk about other topics that are important. So I think it works out perfect. And plus, who doesn't like a distro of the month? So, you know. So
Gives
anyway,
you an excuse for a catchy name.
For all of you guys out there, all of you girls out there that want to try OpenSUSE Tumbleweed, feel free to do it. Feel free not to do it. You don't have to. It's not a challenge or anything that's
not
specific.
telling you what to do.
I'm not telling you what to do. I'm just saying if you want to try it out and talk about it on here, that's great. And we'll follow along.
I've got one question.
Go ahead.
Sorry, Bob. I've got one question. Is Tony downloading that already? He looks like he's downloading
I think it's installed already, dude.
That smirk says he has it already.
It's downloading.
Oh, jeez. Here we go. Barb, go ahead.
Okay, I just found out that I checked on Pine 64, my open ticket, and it seems that they are sending out my motherboard on Monday.
Nice.
And I already have OpenSUSE all set on this little bitty micro SD. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to use it on my Pinebook Pro.
There we go.
So, yeah, I just know when we were talking and stuff, and I thought, well, let me check, because I checked every day and I didn't check today. And they already sent the label number out. So I should be getting it by the middle of the week.
Yep.
I'll be happy just to get it. I want to use my Pinebook Pro, but I'm going to OpenSUSE it. It's right here. All set and ready to go.
Very nice. All right. Any other questions about that? Okay.
Good luck.
We'll see. We'll see how it works out. I don't know.
I was expecting Nate to pop up once you mentioned the zipper.
Well,
or
Nate
should
is
I say...
Nate is pretty busy right now in a situation, but yeah, he would be.
Or should I say zipper?
Zipper.
Zipper.
Zipper. I'm
Sorry,
getting real
Shickle.
Fedora vibes from it, and it's really good.
Wrong. It just, okay, so let me let you in on this. So I have a participants window, right? And I have all of you people listed in that window. And when there's somebody that's loud, like somebody maybe moving a computer around the room, like maybe a guy named Prophetic, I go to look at his name and mute it. But the way Zoom works, it likes to move you guys around. Like the names are constantly moving in this participant window, and I have no idea what possible good thing could come out of the names continually moving. Because as soon as I go to mute somebody, the name moves and I mute the next person. It just drives me insane. But
all I saw was the host has muted you. I was like,
so just so you know, if you ever
can't right-click the icon.
You can.
The print won't work.
You cannot right-click the icon. You can right-click the icon on the screen, but I'm talking in the participant window.
Well, I just noticed that. That's terrible.
So the names just continually move over and over. I don't know what purpose that could be for, but it's very annoying. Okay. Rant over. Back to Linux.
You know
What
that
happens
rant's
if
not
you-
over.
It's not over. It'll never
What
be
happens
over.
if you single click on it rather than double clicking?
Wow. Wow, dude.
Oh,
Really?
boy, he went there. He
oh
went
boy.
there. But I think they move based on, if I'm watching right now, it looks like they move based on who's talking.
Yeah.
Well,
I
regardless.
think it's a combination of who's talking, the first letter of your name, and whether or not you have your hand raised.
Or whether or not you're muted or not already, I think. Like all the muted people are on the bottom. And that's great that all the muted people are on the bottom. But man, is it hard to find somebody that's not muted and mute them.
It's just testing you. That's what it is. So when there's
Right.
interference and someone's talking, it's just like it's doing this right here.
So what you're saying
And
is
it's
I got to
like,
have more patience D, right?
Yeah, that's it. Sudo apt install.
Totally. It's helping you keep your brain functioning properly. It's
And the reason
good
that
brain training.
the reason that I don't right click on the pictures and mute is because that shows up in the actual video on YouTube. So if I right click on something, that menu, OBS is capturing the Zoom window, so it's gonna, and it doesn't. That's not cool. So
And everybody's like, "Ooh, he's muting them."
yeah, like we're doing something. I don't know, kicking them maybe. I don't know.
This could be interesting because when we detect that you're trying to mute somebody, we could all start talking at the same time.
Well, look, I can guarantee you, when somebody is making noise, I am looking to mute them. So if you see anybody making noise, there's your opportunity, Colin. Although
you start trying to do that stuff, Colin, like trying to trick him, he's just gonna hit the mute all button.
Just put him in the waiting room, Jason. You know what I mean? Like,
Just make him go wait. We'll start a whole new battle in the waiting room.
it's a little inside baseball for you. So, okay. I do want to get to 2 emails. Lisa Edwards from Maryland said the big news about, she wanted basically the emails about Zorin Os. And we talked a little bit about Zorin Os in the Europe edition, so I don't know how much you guys want to continue that conversation. But it talks about, while it's great for Linux experts, highly recommended for those looking to switch from buggy and much maligned Windows 10. So it's stable, well-designed operating system reminiscent of Windows. So pretty much just wanted to bring up the conversation of Zorin Os. So you guys have any thoughts on it?
I've tried. Really cool.
Is that the main one? Or...
So great.
So Zorin, the like not necessarily the ultimate, but you're talking about the GNOME,
the core
version, or the core.
Yeah.
I mean, they spent a lot of time. I mean, it's very nicely designed. Although I don't know what part of them really likes that super bright theme. It's almost overwhelming.
You're right, Steve. That is a very, very bright theme. I mean, there are bright themes out there, but that has to be one of the brightest and very hard on the eyes.
I mean, a dark theme, and maybe just be a little bit too kind of dark. But I mean, there's no doubt they spent and have spent a lot of time on that. Customizing GNOME and their extensions and that. I mean, I'm finding using Ubuntu GNOME on the laptop here. I'm really enjoying it. I mean, it's I keep hearing that we don't want Windows users to try GNOME right away. I don't think they'd have a problem with it. They're kind of used to a laptop, or not a laptop, a tablet in a way. It's fine, and I think Zorin is the same way. It's just designed well. I think, and it's really designed for the user in mind.
Steve, I can't believe you're still on GNOME. I was just saying.
I'm liking it on my laptop, and believe it or not, I mean, it's at first I didn't think it would fit into my workflow, but it is. It's pretty much keyboard driven. Hit the super key, and that's what I've been doing on Peppermint. Bring up the whisker menu and start typing. But it's a little more functional too, and I just like. I mean, the little bit of graphics, a little bit of animation adds a nice little touch to it, and it flows really well. I don't see it coming off my laptop for quite, if at all.
Well, speaking of GNOME, I was just trying the Pop! OS Live desktop this morning, and their tiling, the little tiling thing they got going there is pretty good.
Yeah, it's coming to Fedora as well. Just an FYI out there. Computer Kid, you had something to say? Sorry, I jumped in there.
Yeah. It's okay. I cut in with you at first. But anyways, I tried it once, and I thought it wasn't like I didn't find the actual OS itself super fantastic. Again, it was super bright white, but they've got some cool ideas, like their whole differentiation between core and light and ultimate. Like ultimate, I don't know how that's working for them, but that seems like a cool way to monetize. Like you've got this extra batteries included with the icing on top version of it that costs extra. I mean, like it's a good way to monetize. Yeah. And then their Fedora. Did I say Fedora? I meant Zorin. Their Zorin Fleet thingy where it's like orchestration. Thought that was pretty cool if they'll ever make that. So they got some cool ideas.
Yeah, they definitely do, and I think it's a couple of brothers running that project, right? If I'm not mistaken.
It is.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. I just want to make sure I'm not thinking of the wrong one. Yeah.
Yep.
Tony, you got your hand up?
Yeah, I tried Zorin OS and I always quite liked it, and I was quite looking forward to the 15.3 release. But when I tried it, to be honest, I was a bit disappointed. They haven't done an awful lot to it, and it's still running a very old version of GNOME, and my scanner will not work with that. So for me, it's not something I could run even if I wanted to. I look forward to the next release when hopefully the GNOME aspect of it will be updated, and then I would be able to run the scanner and perhaps give it a good go.
Eris?
I was gonna say I liked their thing that changes with the time of day. I think it goes, you can make it go from dark to white, and that's very good for like usability. Like if you want to get that going, and it's so simple, anybody can do it, and you could probably do it with any D, but you had to set it up yourself, and it's just out of the box.
Yep. Look, I think Zorin is another great choice to give people, and just put it on their machine, and it's something that I don't think you would have to worry about too much to do a lot of tech support with it. Just like Linux Mint. Just like, in my opinion, I still think Elementary is that same way as well. So,
well, when they get a 2004 release out, then we can really start to talk about it.
Hey Leo, it's coming. It's all right. It's coming. It's
Oh
coming.
no,
It's
no,
on its way.
I believe
It's
it.
on
I'm a patient man. I can wait a long time, but yeah,
We'll make it worth
I'm
it.
excited for it.
all right. The next email was from Dale, and Dale's sometimes here, and you probably remember him if you saw him. But anyway, he said he listened to the last Biddle, and he wishes that he was there to talk about it, because he said about 15 years ago he switched his mom over to Linux. Basically, she wanted a computer, and he didn't think that she would stick with it because not very big in technology. But he put it on a computer, and 6 months later, she wanted to get a new computer and asked if he could put Linux on it. So I would assume that, I don't know, she's still on it. But the email goes on and says he wanted to put her on Windows, actually. And she was on that for 3 days. And she went back to him and says, can you please put Linux on this? So I thought that was pretty cool. So anyway, another happy story about somebody switching to Linux, or being able to, because not everybody's able to.
I don't have a 15-year story that's quite as impressive, but I remember when I changed all the devices in the house to Linux without informing
I do
my
remember
mother.
that.
Yeah. Every time I install Windows, just casually to see what's up, she's always like, yeah, can we not do that? And so, I mean, it's good. She really likes Linux, especially because we have, I guess she loves Solitaire, and on Windows they have that like Microsoft Solitaire collection, and it's kind of, she likes the old Windows 7 Solitaire thing that they had.
Right.
And I don't think they have that anymore. They killed it. So she likes KPAT now, which is a KDE app, and if she doesn't have that, then oh boy, am I gonna get a talking to. So I definitely make sure that Linux is always booted up on that machine before I leave.
Space Cadet Pinball is all you need.
Oh yes. Oh, so good. All the special 3D effects back in the day was so impressive.
Oh man.
Yep. All right. We did finish the 21 must-have apps for Linux, for Ubuntu, I guess. 21 must-have. Yeah, 2020 edition. But there was a couple honorable mentions at the bottom that didn't get talked about. So maybe we want to go through them. And the other thing I wanted to bring up was the fact that maybe we should bring up our own list of must-have apps. Maybe we should create our own list. Maybe we can go through each one and discuss what should be on there, because we discussed what was on here and, our opinions on it, but maybe we could come up with a list of our own of the best apps that you would use for a particular area, and go into, a deep dive of the browsers in each one, and, extensions and everything else. So that might be coming up. But some of these honorable mentions are Blender, Spotify, Skype, Slack, Audacity, and VirtualBox. So I don't know what you. Some of them are proprietary software. I guess maybe all. No, some of them are Spotify and Skype. So I don't know. Are they honorable mentions? Should they be on our list? Should they be on this list? Barb? You're muted, Barb. I might have done that to you. I don't know.
Okay, I'm not gonna go, like whatever recommended ones you were thinking. I just wanted to say something from 2 weeks. I think it was 2 weeks ago. I forgot who recommended it. It was VS Codium.
Mm-hmm.
And I downloaded it and I installed it. I like it. Because I usually would run VS Code.
Fantastic.
And it's good. And I even have it on my Mac too. So it's really nice because it's cross-platform.
Yep.
And so
That's
bye
the right
VS
answer.
Code.
That's the right answer.
Yes, that's what I like. I like things that are cross-platform.
Yeah, that's a really interesting answer. On Coder Radio this week, Mike and Chris talked about how VS Code is now like the universal developer operating system. And I think it's super true. You mentioned you're using it on a Mac. I use mine on the Mac. I use it on Windows. I use it on Linux. No matter where I am, I SSH into my dev box using the VS Code extension, and I can just pick up where I left off. And for me, it just makes the whole, switching between different OSs much more seamless.
Mm-hmm.
And so, VS Code, I think Microsoft have really knocked it out the park with that. And VS Codium's pretty cool. For those that don't know what it is, it's VS Code without telemetry.
Right. And that's why I wanted to try it. And I've had no problems with it. And I do like the fact they had it for more than just, Linux or whatever.
I really want to trust Microsoft, but I don't know. I find it tricky because all roads lead to Azure for them, right?
Yes.
And their motivations aren't ever going to be anything other than money based. So we have to keep them honest.
I really agree with you on that. But VS Code is the very first time that I thought, well, maybe they're serious about this whole Linux, Microsoft Hearts Linux thing. It was the first kind of chink in the armor. But yeah, I'm
They're
still
serious
on
about it because all roads lead to Azure.
That's right. And I'm still very skeptical. So, but it does help that VS Code and VS Codium are all cross-platform.
I was sad that Microsoft acquired GitHub because it meant that Atom and VS Code, they weren't, we basically lost Atom. I know we haven't, but you know what I mean. Like there were two really good ones, and now there's sort of one really good one and one slightly less good one.
Yeah. I was really excited to see Atom continue development some other way, and I think it is. I think they still do put out updates for it and make changes to it, but it doesn't seem like it has the steam behind it that it used to.
Talking of Steam, was Steam on the list? Because I think that should be on the list.
Actually, Steam was on the list. It's funny. It's funny you bring that up because, there are some things I think we'll talk about, and then other things I don't think we'll talk about, and we talk for an hour. So we had talked for an hour, almost 2 hours, on GNOME tweaks because of being a part of GNOME Desktop, which I had no idea we were going to do that. And I brought up Steam, the next episode, I think it was, and we talked for 30 seconds on Steam, and I could not believe it. I'm like, oh my gosh, we talked this is the platform for gaming that brought all of these games to Linux, and we talked about it for 30 seconds. Everybody was like, they didn't have nothing to say, and I was like, wow.
There's no argument. There's no argument. Everybody just, if you play games at all, you install it, the end, move on.
What was interesting, when Flight Sim came out a couple of weeks ago, I had the option of buying it on the Microsoft Store or Steam. And I chose Steam because that's where all the rest of my games are. It's just one thing to install and then I'm done. Plus all of the work, it's kind of like that, the tallest nail advantage. It's just such a standard in that space now that all of, it's like the default, and default is king. You know, everybody just targets that first and then thinks about everything else later. So if Steam works, you're good.
Yep. I think when we do make this list, I guarantee you that Steam will be on it. But I don't know. We're obviously not going to have time to make it tonight, and I might need to incorporate some help with making that list. But I think that would be a cool set of topics that we could talk about for a pretty long time. So
Surprised you said Skype and not Zoom.
Well, Skype was on the list, so I don't know. Let's talk about Skype. Does anybody even here use Skype?
Yeah, we're all on Skype right now, right?
That's my point. I haven't used Skype in 3 years at this point.
At least, yeah. For me.
Carmine OS uses it.
Yeah, when I used it, when I worked for the bank before my contract was up, my last job here with the bank, I was, part of their IT department. We use Skype, nonstop with there. Other than that, well, it was Skype for business, so whatever. Other than that, I haven't touched Skype in in a personal space in years.
Yeah.
I started using
MSS Teams.
Well, I think you're going to find that most people probably, at least here, most people wouldn't even consider using Skype, except for a work situation, like you're talking about, Jason.
Yeah.
Computer kid.
So I raised my hand back before we got into Skype when we were still talking about general, but
Sorry.
do you want me to go on with what I was going to say?
Well, wait. Stand by. Does anybody else want to get in on Skype before we move on?
Just a tiny bit.
Okay.
I used to use Skype for like personal stuff back in the day because it was like easy for my family to get access to, like overseas and in the Midwest. So it was an easy solution, but I stopped using it because it had a tendency to use far more bandwidth and just completely crush everything compared to any other platform. Like when I switched to Discord, it's like I had no problems with network constraints, but with Skype, it was always just using the most it could ever use.
Yeah, I
all the
think it
time.
uses 720 all the time, or
It's
minimum.
really annoying.
It's all that telemetry.
Well, that had to come up.
Yeah. We also tried using Skype for a long distance D&D group, and we ended up, I think we used it for 2 weeks, and then we switched over to Zoom because it was just kind of a pain. And that was months ago, and I haven't opened Skype since then. So, I mean, it worked okay, but it just seems like collectively most of my circle has moved on from that option.
Yeah.
Plus the new design now, we're like Zoom. We're all here. You're here, Rocco. You're leading it, right?
Mhm.
With Skype, it's everybody. So each one of us, if we were on Skype right now, we'd be this little icon,
Mm-hmm.
and you can't fit it into the grid.
Right. Yeah, they
You
don't
go
have
to
a
grid mode and all that, so you can
Yeah.
expand it. But if you wanted to do a recording like what you do, it's not going to work. As far as maybe a messaging platform, talking to one, I mean, it's okay. I know, like I said, Carmine uses it once in a while, and he'll try to record a stream off of it.
Yeah.
And I don't particularly like. It's not bad. I wouldn't use it for what we do. But if someone else said, "Hey, give me a call on Skype," and that's
Well-
what they had, that would be no problem.
Zoom is not without problems. I mean, it's not
Right.
without issues. There are, but it's still the best option right now, especially for this format.
Zoom definitely has issues. Rocco tells me to stand by. Zoom, crash.
Or it could have been your computer, one or the other.
No,
Could have been
Zoom
Arch.
just like gone.
Could have been Arch. That's, I'm
no,
going to
it
blame it
couldn't
on
have
Arch.
been
You
Couldn't have
haven't
been Arch.
you haven't seen the admin panel in Zoom? There's a crash user computer on button.
Leo, don't tell him
I knew
that.
that for annoying
Oh,
students. Oh my god.
That's not supposed to get out, dude. That's behind the scenes.
It's the God mode. We're supposed to pin it in Slack and hide it from everybody.
All right, anybody else on Skype?
Yeah, and Microsoft already set an end of life for Skype for business. I won't be surprised if it won't be
Oh wow, didn't know
Skype
that.
personal too. Yeah,
I
July
didn't know
next year.
that.
July next year.
Wow. Okay.
Get out of here, Skype. You're done.
You know it's bad when the RIP does it is like goes over everyone's head.
Yeah. That
Yeah,
means
so I'm-
nobody
so-
cares, dude. Just saying.
So I'm guessing what they're doing is they're going to stick instead of Skype. They're just going to stick with Teams.
Teams. That's
Yep.
the default.
Yep.
Anybody try out Teams?
I use
How's
it
it
for
work?
work.
Yeah, we're using it at work now.
Yeah, I use it for work too.
So
Get
how
this.
is it, Tony?
I love
Apple
it.
uses it for work.
Really?
Yes, that is our our team chat. Well, like we haven't actually set it up or anything yet, but it's our main chat platform for our team, our different our different groups and whatever for supervisors and stuff like that. It's our main
Kicking butt.
chat. So that's pretty sad when Apple has to resort to. I mean, they have iMessage in there, but that's not
Yeah.
powerful enough to handle a business platform. And there's another option would be Mattermost. But
Is it?
Teams is the best option. Actually.
Is it really?
Who said that? Who
That
said
was
that?
me. No, that was me.
Leo.
No,
I mean,
you're
is
wrong.
it though?
Wow. Hey, Donnie, sell me on Teams, will you?
Well, Teams is good only if you have the Office 365 subscription, connecting with SharePoint and all the other
Bingo.
platforms that Microsoft have. As a standalone, I don't think it's great.
Okay. Fair enough.
Teams is primarily designed for businesses. That's what that's why they're Skype for Business is going to Lou. I don't know if the actual Skype itself is going to be going or if it's just Skype for Business. But I mean, either way, there's both pretty much dead platforms.
Yeah. Okay. Computer Kid, now you can continue on with what you were talking about from before.
Yeah. So basically, I was just gonna say that it's a representation of how Shickle's ahead of the times. I thought about it, and basically all I need is a web browser and probably a terminal. Like, in the world we live in, if your workflow isn't already in the browser, you can mostly do anything in the browser. It's kind of sad, but at the same time, I need about 2 apps, and I can even if I'm only allowed to have 1 app, I can just have my browser, and then I can use the terminal on my server from the browser. Everything is in the browser now. It's crazy.
Gosh, if you could see my ego right now. I love it when people shill for me.
Well, I mean, it's true though. I mean, you wait a few
Yeah.
more years. I mean, everything is going to be on the web. Everything is going to be accessible just from, work-related stuff or whatever it may be. Is it's all going to be on the web? There's no longer going to be a need to install things.
Yep. All right. We only got a couple minutes, so we're not going to fill a whole lot of time. But let me ask you guys: are there any suggestions on how we should go about this app list? Because I want to get it. I don't know. I want to get it somewhat organized before we go start talking about it.
I bet it'll be a Google Doc.
So it may be.
Top 3.
Why don't we join a Skype call and talk about it?
Wow. Okay. I don't know. I hear Teams is better. So probably a snap for Teams, ain't there? Come on.
There actually is a snap for Teams.
See?
Yeah.
I knew it. I knew it. All right. So any suggestions on how we should go about putting our app list together? Or is there any rules that we want to put together for, are we going to do 1 app per area? So like a web browser, are we going to do 1 web browser? Or are we going to do multiple choice of like the top 3? How should we go about it?
Probably best one.
That might be very subjective, Steve.
Yeah, but
I would say top 3 and let the people choose their own categories because people have different use cases. So not every category might apply equally with everyone. So top 3 and they choose whatever.
Yep.
How about Thomas makes you a thing, and it just randomly selects?
The random app that I love generator.
We have to agree with Thomas now, guys. It's canon.
Yeah. Luckily, Thomas wasn't here. It would have been a 3rd week in a row that everybody agreed with Thomas. But
is this a biddle list? So we're making our list?
Yeah, it would be well, we went through that app list, and there were so many apps on there that we were like, well, why is that on there, kind of thing. So, I was actually sitting down with my dad, talking to him about the show because he watches every week, And he said, well, why don't you do your own app list? And I'm like, that's a good idea. So I think it would be a great idea to come up with a Biddle version of that must-have apps for Linux, Ubuntu, whatever you want to call it. So
you could do a GitHub repo with a text file, and people could do pull requests, or you could do a Google Doc and people could comment on it.
Or you can do a post on Discourse, and people can just post responses to Discourse.
Well, the thing is, we need to do something that everybody will want to participate in. So, like, Discourse is great, but you're not going to get everybody to participate in Discourse. A Google Doc would be the easiest thing to do, but there are a lot of people that don't like to use Google, so that would cut some people out. So you kind of want to do something that everybody can do.
Would you like a self-hosted real-time document editor then? I'll throw one up on the self-hosted Linode and give you access for the next month. How about that?
That would be fantastic.
That'd be
All right, let me do
incredible.
that. I'll be right back.
Do it like Pirate Pad. Self-hosted.
Alex is
Pirate Pad or
It'll
something.
be CodeMD.
Yes, CodeMD.
sweet.
Hey, we happen to
Can I
use
see
that
the-
for Linux user space. Just saying.
I feel like every podcast, or at least all the Linux podcasts, using that. I'm curious, Alex. Are you gonna like set it up with Ansible? Like, do you have a playbook just ready to fire off?
Oh yeah, I've actually been working on this week because since JB's gone independent again, we now have sponsors, and Linode is one of those sponsors. So I've got an account I can use to do fun stuff with. And so gallery.selfhosted.show this week we talked about Lychee, the gallery app. And so what I want to start doing is hosting all of the apps we talk about somewhere people could just go and take a look at them. And so I'm doing all the infrastructure using Terraform and Ansible.
Nice.
I think it should be called 21 very handy apps. I don't know about must-have apps because that's very, like must-have apps is, it depends on what the person does on their computer, isn't it? Or, you know, it should be 21
should
very
rename
handy
it.
apps.
Or 21
I think
recommended
so.
apps.
Recommended apps? That
let's,
sounds good.
let's start out by saying we don't need 21. We can just best of. You know what I mean? Like, it doesn't have to be a number. But I do agree, Colin, that it maybe doesn't need to be best of. Just maybe we need to reword it.
Yeah.
What about calling it useful apps?
Could. We could.
$sign apps.
Yeah.
Uh-oh.
You have to put two in there,
I like
computer
that
kid.
Double $sign apps.
$2. Just saying.
How about we have one
Money,
from
money,
each
y'all.
main category in a menu list? Like, you know, you got your graphics, you got your internet, your office. Maybe
That's a
take
good
one
idea.
category, and then we have what is the most preferred app to have within that category or something like that.
Well, to add on to that, add the categories and then do maybe a top 3 of each category. Because you're going to have a lot of people that want to do a certain, like for browsers. I mean, can you imagine? Like, you know, some people are going to want Firefox, some people are going to want Chrome, some people are going to want Brave. You know, like you're not gonna have just one. So a multiple, like a top 3 of a category, I think would be great. All right, we're running out of time. Go ahead, computer kid. Go ahead.
No, I was just gonna make another joke about what we could call it.
Yeah, tell a joke. That's good.
I
Love
was
a joke.
gonna. Oh man, you guys are. What was it? Oh, it was in the same vein as the $sign one. Oh man, I forgot it.
Come
now.
back to it on your last word.
Yeah. So think about it. Maybe we'll talk about it next week again. Maybe even start it next week of what we can, you know, how to format it and what to do. So we'll talk about them. But we are out of time. It is 10 o'clock. So everybody gets the last word. Steve, last word.
Thanks. It was great being on tonight. I didn't have to cook dinner tonight, so I was able to be on at a very decent time. Great discussions. I like the open format. Everybody take care and be well.
Well, the conversation was pretty much eclectic, just like the last Biddle Europe was. So, yeah. Tony, go ahead.
I wanted to be able to say, yes, it's installed, but it's not there yet. It's 68% of the way there. That's the best I can offer. But it was a great conversation. Enjoyed this one just as much as the European one. Take care, everyone, till next week, and I look forward to seeing you all then.
All right, Jason.
Yes, I definitely have to say that the open forum is great. Just having, discussions on, XYZ topics doesn't always have to be all Linux. I know it could be, we've went all over the place, both on the European edition and on this here tonight. All I gotta say is that it seems like the time has flown by on both of those biddles. Like it was like done.
Yep.
But I do appreciate the the forum that we can get together and chat. And you guys have a good night.
Well, I would like to say that I would like to keep it Linux, but sometimes it just happens. So, but we eventually get back to it. So,
Yeah, Schickle and his Google,
yeah. Aris, last word.
Thank you very much for the stream and the discussion, and I'll see you next week.
Tyler. All right. Colin?
Hey, Google, last word, please. No, I'm only joking.
I love it.
Yeah, thanks for the stream, Rocco and Co. This is Rock and Co. Yep, this is awesome. There's a few different discussions tonight, which is a little bit off topic, I think, but that's, I think we're always going to have that, to be honest. But everyone have a great week. Enjoy your week, and I will see you next week.
Jinda.
Thanks so much, everybody. Take it easy. I'll see you guys next week.
Barbara.
Okay, I want to thank you, Rocco. This is always fun. And maybe I'll be able to say something about OpenSUSE on my Pinebook Pro next time.
Nice.
So, but thank you.
Schickle.
Well, as always, it's great being here. Fantastic time having Google bleed into the hearts and minds of everyone around me. And I hope to see you guys next week. I've had a great time, and yeah, stay frosty, or whatever the people say.
Yeah, stay frosty. That's it.
Yeah.
Monica.
All right. Well, it was really good to finally be back, and as always, lovely to talk about tea with all of you fine people. Maybe next week I'll have some and actually have a cup with me.
Nice. Donnie, last word.
Thank you for the show. After 2 years of watching you guys, finally was able to make it. Thank you for having me. You guys have a good night.
It's good to have you, brother. You're welcome back anytime. Leo $ Chavez.
Ooh, as far as tea goes, Earl Grey with a little sugar and milk. Yeah. As far as yes, as far as Google goes, as little as humanly possible. No, thank you. But as far as the show goes, thanks for letting me in, even though, Rocco, you said I would never be welcome back.
Did I say that? Did I say that?
No, not never.
Come on.
But yeah, no, thank you for a good time. I love this thing, even though a lot of times I only get in for the last half of the stuff. But I do appreciate it. This is a great show. Thank you very much.
Alex, last word, brother.
Can't talk. Busy setting up Cody MD.
Okay. Thank you. Prophetic, last word.
Hopefully next week I'll talk about tumbleweed, because I've been like a 3-week head start. It's been interesting already. But next week also hopefully have an update on my new toy. As you guys know, I'm a convergence nut. I love DexPad, and all those variations of convergence. And I'm getting a next dock get shipped in sometime this week. So I would love to kind of share a little bit about my first impressions on that.
Nice. Computer Kid.
There we go. Thanks for the awesome conversation and all the other people to talk about Linux with. And I can't wait to read our list of the frostiest single click on by default, $$ supported by Google, and with no pixel out of place apps that run on OpenSUSE.
Perfect.
I wrote it down.
There's Michael Tennell.
Hi.
Hi. Hey, you get a
Uh,
first word and a last word.
Cool. Double click.
That's it. That's all you got.
That's
all
it.
you
Double
got.
click.
Okay.
Oh, yeah, also stay frosty.
Single
Use
click for
double
the
click.
win. Double click.
What,
Mhm.
what about his last word, Rocco? That was his first word.
I
What's his
think it
last
was
word?
both. I think that was both his
Double click
first and last
is the,
word.
the first word is double click. The last word is stay frosty.
It was dangerous when you said you got both first and last.
I know it was dangerous, but I did open myself up for that. So, Bill, last word.
I thought his beard was his last word.
Hey, just a couple quick things that have been really cool in the community. So this week, JB did a bugathon with Fedora.
Yes.
Fedora 33 coming out. And I know Michael has something going on with Destination Linux for a community bugs. So these are great things that you can get this overall community to contribute to, not even maybe a distro you use, but just contribute, just throw it on a machine you have sitting around or on a spare drive and give some feedback because it just helps everyone. So that's it.
Yep. Agreed. Michael, where can they find out more information about that?
Yeah, you can go to destinationlinux.network/QC platform. We're building it's not just a bug event thing. It's more of we're building a whole platform to create a place that developers and also the community members can go to have like a central location to find what projects need help, what they need help on, and also where the projects can find people who want to contribute. Like, for example, if they need a bunch of AMD users, everybody who wants to participate can put in, like, they have AMD hardware and stuff like that. As of course, everybody should have AMD hardware, but not everybody does. So in those cases, then if you can actually find the people who have it and then ask for their help, and if they have an RTX, like a new RTX that came out, that's also something we're going to be put into. So essentially just an easy way for developers to find the help they need and for people to find a place to help out.
Yep. It's good. Very good. All right. That is going to wrap it up for us. Thank you all for being here. Thank you, Shickle, for the help. I really appreciate it. And we will be back next week and we'll start our app list. And with the help of Alex, we'll have somewhere to do it. So that's going to do it for us. We'll see you next week. But until then, long live Linux.
Bye, everybody.
Bye,
Stay
everyone.
frosty.
Good night,
Bye.
everybody, and long live double